Pixels in the Animation has now left the Mushroom Kingdom, paisans, to enter the realm of Hyrule in episodes 16 through 20 of PETA. Join TV's Mr. Neil and TFG1 Mike as they are going through the classic Legend of Zelda animated series. This time around, a special guest joins the guys for the Zelda reviews. It's the famed Ender from Radio Free Cybertron and the Pullbag. So tune in and help us find the pixels in the animation, which you can find on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com. Excuse us, podcasters. I love it so much when they do an animated series based off of something that has absolutely nothing to do with the fucking video games whatsoever. But whatever. But at least they got the characters right. Well, the names right. That was about it. Okay. Anyways. Welcome to Off the Cuff, episode 29. I am your host this week, Art Danner. I am joined by the very slightly inebriated Mike Powers.
Hello.
And the slightly ill Joe Reed.
Hello.
And the still alive Seansie Brown.
Hi. For some reason, I thought you were gonna go slightly retarded. Just in my head, that's what I knew you were gonna say. But
I don't want to insult retards by comparing you to them, because that was, and number one, it's mentally deficient.
You called them retards too, so
I don't like to call them retards because
you're calling them retards now.
No. Well, maybe. When you call somebody retarded, to me, that just means that they can't catch on fire. So I prefer to, say mentally deficient. Or
all I know is only one of us has that special voice.
All foam, no beer, the wheel spinning, but the hamster's dead.
Getting culling books for Christmas for the rest of your life.
Sean's mom, things like that.
She is a very nice lady.
Yeah.
Why are we bringing moms into this?
Unlike your mom, who's a dirty freak.
Ooh.
Hey.
So I'm just saying, I've never seen someone swallow that many Ben Waz balls. That's all I'm saying.
Woo! God, I really hope my parents don't listen to this.
Me too.
So to forego the, typical or semi-typical what you've been doing, we're just gonna jump into the whole GTA 5.
Yeah,
because
that's what I've been doing.
Because that's what, the only game I've played in the last 2 weeks since we recorded. Well, let me rephrase that. Let's sidetrack for a moment. I've played plenty of games, just none of them were video games because we were at Grand Con this past weekend. It was myself, Booth Ninja 81, Mike Powers, Joe Reed of Geek Stuff Garage Sale fame, and Steve Megatron Phillips, holding down the fort on Saturday over at Grand Con, which I have to say, I had an immense amount of fun. I really enjoyed myself. I don't know much about tabletop gaming, so it was kind of nice to see that because God knows I didn't play. Maybe I'm working myself up to that for next year. I mean, me and Joe played a shitload of board games, and it was awesome. I had so much fun on Sunday.
I grew a pair and decided to visit the game library and check things out, and I'm very happy that I did that. I opened myself up to this whole new world of things that I never considered.
So the game that we played with the hourglasses or minute glasses and the
Yeah.
rings. Love that game. Really, really like the game. Can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
Isn't it
But regardless,
Tamask or something like that?
Tamask or something like that.
Yeah. We found it. We looked it up and found it. And then it was like...
We looked it up online. It turns out completely out of print. Cost $178 to buy a copy of it.
Oh, good God.
I know. I was like, oh, I really like that game. I'm never going to fucking play it again. So if I can find it somewhere, I will totally pick it up. But I'm not going to pay more than $15 or $20 for it because I like board games. I just don't $178 like board games.
You like video games more.
I like video games more. That's my wheelhouse. I like to stick in that one. Besides that, we played me and Mike and Allie played Let's Kill, which was awesome. That was a good time. I also me and Joe played Cards Against Humanity, which it's a little difficult to play with two people, and we were laughing so hard we were getting a few weird looks from the tabletop players, which all things considered is impressive that we were getting weird looks from tabletop
guys
from the Dungeons & Dragons players.
Like, excuse me, I'm trying to concentrate and roll a 20.
You're totally ruining my immersion here, guys.
Way to go! You
Quiet
maybe
now.
have a critical fail.
But I do want to also say that, say what you will about anybody that tabletops or collects comics, because we are those people. Nicest group of guys. Really, really enjoyed meeting everybody, hanging out with everybody, and getting to know people. A lot of networking. We got to meet a lot of other guys from other podcasts. And it was all around, to me, awesome time. Had a lot of fun.
I can't wait for next year.
Can't wait for next year.
I'll have to get out for one of these.
Yeah, and also looking forward to the next Geek Stuff Garage Sale on October 5th, Joe.
Hey.
Wow, that was not gay sounding at all. Like, hey,
I have no control over my voice. Get off my horse.
Sounds like you want someone to get on your horse and hard.
Yeah, 2 weeks Geek Garage Sale, 8 vendors, probably more. We might be looking at 10 groups of folks coming, and that's going to be exciting considering I felt kind of vacant from organizing it this time, but it really comes together on its own most of the time. And so we're at Apparitions Comics again in Grand Rapids. If you're in the area, it's worth a drive. I'd say if you came from Lansing, you'd be all right.
There's going to be stuff. There's going to be lots of stuff.
Well, then maybe I shouldn't come then.
Comics, toys, collectibles, video games.
You have to
That's
come
fine.
to vending.
If Lansing is far away as you can be before it actually gets interesting, then maybe I just shouldn't come.
Well, I'm thinking before it gets worth it. I mean, it is a garage sale, but you know, hey, it's fun. I think.
Have you seen people that go extreme garage selling, dude?
Yeah,
This
it
is a
is
different
kind
breed
of
of
the
people,
extreme geek garage sale, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
as much as I do love
and
the,
that makes the people more rational by making them also geeks.
It's
I'm
only-
still not seeing your logic here.
Now, the Geek
It's only
Garage Sale
better-
tends to look like a shanty town. Like
and I love
FEMA
my
threw
little
up all over a
gypsies.
parking lot.
I still enjoy it when the people show up that have no idea what it is. Oh, I was just curious, and they look around, and then they give us a
I was
shitty
looking
look,
for baby clothes.
Yeah. and then they give us a shitty look right before they leave and drive off. Like, what the fuck is wrong?
What are these
with
grown-ups
you
doing
guys?
playing with toys?
If you only knew.
Giggity. I feel like I should say it there. I don't know the way you said that.
I felt like a giggity. Yeah. I meant it the creepy way it sounded.
I just assume you always mean stuff the creepy way.
Oh yeah, totally.
If I sell enough stuff, I'm gonna fund my 3DS with this purchase because that remastered sequel of Legend of Zelda that you showed me this weekend, Mike, I have to play that.
But Joe, you could get a 2DS.
Why would I want that? It's an
oh,
extra
that's-
dimension.
A link.
But
between
then you have
worlds.
to buy Janko jeans in order to put it in a pocket.
I have
No.
cargo
Well,
pants. I have
the
cargo
2DS,
pants.
yes, but the 3DS, you don't need
The
that.
2DS, yes. I was referring to the 2DS. Hence the reason I pulled a 90s reference of Janko jeans.
Didn't I bring up Janko jeans a couple weeks ago and no one knew what I was talking about? Or was that Altered Geek?
We've told
That
no,
would probably an Altered Geek.
No,
because
you've definitely talked about you owning a pair of these at some point.
did-
but I think it
you
was
did
more than
bring
a
it up.
couple weeks ago. This may have been a couple of months ago.
I think it
wore
was
MC
mostly
Hammer pants to elementary school.
we didn't acknowledge it mostly because of the fact that we were ashamed of you, Mike.
I'm pretty sure it was something we were talking about when we actually did retro stuff, and that somehow brought that up because you were talking about, I don't know, playing Pokemon Yellow or something. I can't remember.
I don't play Pokemon. What the? Oh,
sure.
No. What? No. I don't even know where I am right now.
Go home. You're drunk.
Yes.
He's already home.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
already home.
That's the sad part. He's still trying to find his car
Sorry.
keys.
Hit the mute button. You're
so-
drunk. Oh, that's my
All right.
computer.
So let's jump into it. Let's jump into GTA 5, and I want to start with one thing. I want you to say what your best experience. Describe your best experience in GTA 5 so far. What is the one thing that just tickled you in all the naughty parts?
Best?
Who goes first?
Best or most interesting thing?
Whoever wants to jump in, and because of the
All
fact that Sean hasn't shut up, I'm assuming he's going first.
When do I ever shut up?
I don't know. When do you have a cock in your mouth?
I still don't, because then it's more like probably the coolest thing I noticed was on accident. I was driving on a motorcycle. It was before I even had a gun, really, and I just happened to hit the LB button, and you flick people off.
You're stealing my answer.
Should have gone first, bitch.
That's all right. I think Danner and I are gonna have the same answer.
Probably.
And I don't know what was more fun, figuring out that I can flick people off or figuring out that it has a reaction.
That's the best part.
Other
I
drivers
discovered it by
and people
accident.
get pissed at you. It's fantastic. I had a guy, I did it to one guy, then I pulled into an ammunition to go get more body armor, and then he ran me over with his car. He pulled into the driveway or into the thing and ran me over.
All because you flipped on the
Overreacting,
bird.
my God.
Over flipping the bird. Good
Okay,
times.
Joe. What's yours?
Yeah,
Is that pretty much the same thing?
Similar story. I accidentally discovered it. In toggling through, trying to figure out which button put my gun away while I was driving, and as my car is slowly rolling by a bus stop in the ghetto at night, I see my little hand come out the window and give the finger to everybody waiting for this midnight bus.
You're
They'll jump down and
racist.
start kicking my car and ripping me out, and we get in a nice little fist fight down there. It was
Nice little
outstanding.
tussle.
And then I like, oh my God, there's actually a function for that button. And so I'm driving around and I just steer the camera around so it goes in front and then to the right.
He gives
and then
like
into
you
the
have
back, he puts it up in the
panoramic
rear
movie, like,
mirror.
whoop. It's better
It's
on a
so great.
motorcycle because then you can actually see your guy do it better. It's fantastic.
I'm totally getting on a motorcycle after this.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
It's infinitely better because you could get a clear view of it as everybody gets pissed off at you.
So, Mike, I have a feeling we're gonna have the same story.
I think we are
He
too.
just said that like 2 seconds ago.
Do you want me to say the story, or would you like to say the story?
I think you can say the story.
Okay. So, we were over the weekend all hanging out and playing GTA 5, and we were currently trying to invade a military base, and we had died, and woke up at a clinic next to a sheriff's station. And the moment Trevor walked out of the clinic, there was a female sheriff standing directly outside of the sheriff's station. Walked up to the female officer, hit the D-pad right button to initiate a conversation. I don't remember initially what Trevor said to her, but I definitely remember what followed. The second time hitting the D-pad after the cop has reacted to what Trevor has said, he goes, "Oh, that's sarcasm. You're a dumb twat." And then the female officer pulls her gun out and proceeds to empty the entire clip into Trevor's chest. And that was
I
where
got to
was
do
like,
that more. I only do that every once in a while. Talk to people.
That was the most grievous overreaction I've ever heard to calling a female officer a twat. I mean, I do it all the
I was
time.
gonna say, like, how many other times have you done this? Usually, they just pepper spray you.
I know. It's usually kick to the balls and pepper spray. I mean, seriously, just emptying an entire clip into somebody's chest. I think that's a tinge of an overreaction. But whatever. That's just me.
I see how it is.
Was that pretty much what you were going to say, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you have anything to add to that?
No.
I got one more. I found the enjoyment of playing around with the.
You know what? I said only one. You're done, Sean.
What?
He can
Now
have
I
mine.
want to hear what he was going to
He can
say.
have mine.
You both said the same one, so there's still a total of 4. Playing around with the tow truck's the funnest thing because I like backing up in front of people while they're moving.
I did that today.
Make them
too.
stop, drop the thing, pick it up, and they'll jump out of their car. But
I drive away before they get out.
I try to, but usually it doesn't have enough get up and go. On accident, I was driving and I like using the back cars like a wrecking ball when you're driving, like swinging into people. I accidentally hit the button to release the car as I did that, and then it creams off the sidewalk into the same one of those things you were talking about, Joe, where people are waiting for the bus.
Yeah.
Then there was no people waiting for the bus.
I believe we call those bus stops.
Really? Because they didn't stop a damn thing. Because as soon as the car leaves the hook, it goes faster than your truck.
Yeah,
'Cause
you threw a car at a bus stop. It's not going to
Yeah.
stop a car.
It was awesome.
They're for stopping buses.
What's the release the tow truck button? Release the car button?
It's right directional button while you're driving. It drops it. Also does the same thing if you're driving a tractor trailer. Drops the trailer.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
drove the tanker
do.
truck into a gas station and dropped it off next to the pumps, walked away, and then shot at it, and it was an instant 3 stars after I'd started to run away from it. They're really good blowing up a gas station.
I was gonna say,
I want to use the jerry can to blow up one.
the one other interesting thing, the involving buses, amazingly enough, is I did manage to climb up on a bus and ride on a bus around the entire city.
How'd you get on top?
I climbed.
Yeah, but did you have to get to it when it was before, like when it was?
It was stopped, and I jumped up, and he just grabbed the edge of it and pulled himself up. But the bus is driving around the city, and I pull out the grenade launcher and just start shooting cars all around. And because I'm constantly in motion and at the top of the bus and not falling off, the cops couldn't catch me nor find me. But the funny thing was the driver was like, "Oh God, there's somebody shooting," so it'd speed off
with you on top.
With me on top, and then slow down like it was safe, and then I would shoot again, and then he would speed up like he's trying to get away from me, and then slow down again. I just kept going around and around the city until there was a super low bridge and fucking knocked me right off the
Dunk.
bus. Yeah, I was like, wait a second, crouch, cut. Oh no.
Yep.
Well, did it like instant kill you?
Nope. I survived.
That's
and
good.
The stripper mini game's fun too.
Yes.
Incredibly awkward.
I was disappointed.
Incredibly awkward, but fun.
Boobies.
Yay, boobies!
I was hoping I could drive the hand over the body as that was happening. Instead of just holding the boob down.
So your problem that it's not perverted enough. Gotcha.
I did it because Art told me to. It's peer pressure.
And then you could take her back to her, apartment and
I've only got them. I've gotten
the prude strippers.
Yes, I've gotten 2 of them. The 2 times I've tried it, they both say, "I'm not. Do I look like I'm that kind of girl?" And the one said, "Do I look like a whore?" The one said, "Do I look like a whore?" And I was kind of like, "How do I make my guy nod?"
You look like a girl with daddy issues.
I was like, "You look like a girl with nice areolas." Like, I don't know. Like, what the hell do you want from me?
Did you not get their like bar up high enough?
It was maxed.
Yeah.
Wow, you even repulse girls in video games.
That's nice. Maybe it's maybe this trick is to not do the. Do you usually do the double dance too?
The double dance
where they bring in a second stripper?
No.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I would always bring in a second stripper, so I'd have both of their bars liked up.
I did.
Dude, I could barely please one woman. Why would I try to want to please 2? Wait a second. I just walked into that, didn't I?
Backwards, it bent over. So here's my question. After everyone's unlocked all 3 characters, who do you like playing as better?
I've only played as Trevor, so
as soon as you got Trevor, you just keep him?
No, like literally when I went over to the buddy's house to play it.
Okay.
I don't own the game, unlike the 3 of you guys.
Well, no, because I mean, you could I just figured you'd have tried switching around, and because they all have different abilities and stuff like that.
I have a PS4 too, and at that point in time in the game, we couldn't switch because he was stuck in Trevor.
Oh.
Ooh, that sounded kind of dirty.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, in Trevor.
Well, I'm a fan of Michael because I feel bad for him and how horrible his life is. I see that he tries all the time, and I like that there are points in the story mission where you can choose to do the right thing or the wrong thing. Like the wife gets picked up for shoplifting, and you can either save her or let her rot in jail. And I'm playing Michael in a way, when it gives me those little role playing moments, I'm playing him in a way that he's going to do the right thing, and his family's going to screw him over because that's the way the story goes. But so I like Michael for that he's trying and he can't make it. That's the character that I can relate to the most. And then I've got the thug from the ghetto who's obviously trying to get out of the ghetto. At least I don't hate him as much as I hated the dude from San Andreas.
Yeah.
And Trevor, I thought he was going to be my least favorite, but that's the one that I'm cackling out loud at.
Oh yeah, he's
And
totally amazing sometimes.
And what I noticed from a character story kind of not story standpoint, but he is the only character in the entire game that has his destiny by the balls and takes what he wants and gets what he wants. And he's obviously trying to help everybody else take what they want and get what they want. And he's probably, I don't know, he's not the most sane character in that world.
He's the freest.
He is the freest from that. And I think Michael will eventually kind of latch onto that. I hope, maybe, I don't know where the story goes yet.
Yeah. I'm actually interested in the story, what's going to happen between these three characters. I will say one thing. When you were talking about the moment where with the cop, I had a similar moment with Trevor. I switched to him from Michael, and so it goes into the little scene of him, whatever he's doing, and he's leaning on this railing talking to a girl outside of a health restaurant called Nutbusters. Is the name of the place. So he's talking. He's like, wait, you don't put meat in your mouth, but you'll suck a cock? I just don't get it.
Fantastic.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, and then it goes to you. And I'm like, what do you want me to do after that? I need a minute.
Oh, sorry. I was reading an email. My bad.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Nice hosting skills.
Sorry. I'm used to, mic reining it in. It's fine.
I was just thinking that you might be able to take over because you're doing an awesome job, and then you just.
Sorry, I got my email confirmation that my PS4 release date is now on the 15th of November, and I was just stroking my phone with excitement. I know I'm hard too right now.
I was gonna say, man, I don't think it's your phone you were stroking.
We could sword fight right now if we were in the same room.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, I just made it so awkward. I'm
sorry, you
misspoke
Xbox
Live
awesome
when it got
there.
awkward.
What is the one thing about the game that's driving you nuts so far?
Driving nuts, like that you're just like, ugh.
What's the one thing that you find maybe slightly frustrating or something you've noticed so far that you just kind of bothering you about the game?
I can answer this immediately. It takes too long to switch between characters.
What?
You're on Xbox, aren't you?
Yep.
How long?
It's 10 to 20 seconds.
Oh my god.
It zooms out from the one, then moves over the map to where the other one is, then zooms back in.
I know it takes a little bit of time on the PS3, but it doesn't take 20 seconds.
And I'm assuming is it only one disc on the?
Yes.
Yeah, there's an install disc on the 360.
Well, there's still the install on the PS3 too.
Yeah, there's two separate discs, one just for the install.
Right.
If I'm installing that much stuff, I shouldn't have. The rest of the load times are really decent, and almost you don't even really notice them. But switching between characters is so annoying, and it takes you out of it so much.
Now, when you switch like that, do you get like the little loading? Like, does it zoom out, go to the map, and then zoom, like move over, zoom in, then you get like the loading icon?
No.
Does it just like go really slow?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't zoom because I don't know how it does it. It zooms. It kind of does like a. Imagine you were on Google like Earth,
yeah,
and you click the zoom in button, not where you drag it in, but so it just kind of jumps. So it kind of jumps back
out 3 times.
Yep,
and then
moves
jumps
hands,
in 3
and then
times.
jumps in 3 times. Exactly, but it just that takes too long.
How long would you say it takes on the PS3, Joe?
If it takes 10 seconds, they were really far away and it's loading a lot of assets, but generally less than 5.
And as far as I can tell, distance between the characters has no concern. I had literally had guys within 20 feet of each other.
Now, curious, did you make the mistake of installing the play disc as well?
No.
Okay.
I've heard that if you install the play disc as well, it kind of
screws up the texture popping.
Yeah. It's like bad, right? That's what I heard when I saw it, because I was gonna install it until I saw it installed this. Then I looked it up and I was like, okay, I'm not.
Supposedly, what I've heard, the best way to play the game right now is to have a physical copy of the PS3 copy is the best version, because even the digital download version of the on PS3, I guess, does also have texture popping issues, kind of like the 360 does. But the disc-based version works the best. I think the load times are far, like the zoom in zoom out's far better on the digital copy for the PS3, but Andy said that it has the same texture popping issues that the 360 one does, where he was driving like a bat out of hell through like the countryside, and then he hit the city, and when he hit the city, it was literally just gray buildings with no texture on anything. And he was like, well, this is a dumb looking city. And then all of a sudden the textures slowly started popping in. So I'm
so ecstatic that I have not had a single noticeable graphical glitch, no pop-ins.
Well, supposedly
no
you
textures.
have the best way
I'm
to
so
play,
happy.
Joe.
That's great. I'm excited.
So, Joe, what's something you noticed that has bothered you about the game?
Anytime I'm in a shootout, I can't tell where I'm being shot from, because I'm focused on the little cursor, the little reticle in the middle of the screen. I'm not focused on those red bars that are physically 2.5 feet away from that on my TV screen. So I can't tell which direction I'm getting shot at, and I die so often in any kind of shootout. And I also dislike where I can't. I'm hitting the L button to bring up the sights, and then I shoot, and then the screen kind of pulsates dark or gray or blue, and I think I'm getting shot. But I think it's like the reward for getting a headshot. It's the only thing I can think, and that drives me nuts because I think I'm getting shot. So that's my biggest.
I don't think I've ever come across that.
You just suck at aiming at their heads.
Really? Because
I'll give it a shot. I don't know.
Like, was it while you were using an ability? The only time I've ever noticed that was when I was with Michael and his slow time thing. When you pull off a headshot, then it does the little like that, almost what you're describing.
And for those of you that haven't played it, all the characters have a special ability.
Mm-hmm.
When you mash the joystick buttons,
that's kind of awkward. Clicking both those in at the same time is kind of awkward to do.
Only on the 360. Because you got the staggered sticks as opposed to on the PS3.
No, it's not that. It's like that's not what's bothering me. Is like Michael's and Trevor's I don't have a problem with. It's when I'm driving.
Oh.
Because I mean, like if I'm in the middle of taking a turn and I realize I'm gonna mess up, it's hard to click without letting go of this. Stop turning, click, then turn again.
I think the L3 and R3 on the PS4 control or PS3 controller is just I think they just click easier.
Maybe, I don't know. It's
like
I don't have any problem
clicking them by accident all the time.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Trevor's ability, and Trevor's is pretty cool. The rampage mode.
I'm very excited to see the return of the official rampages. I mean, I haven't done that since the first Grand Theft Auto. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm. The first one, I don't know if it glitched out for me, but you know how like normally you take reduced damage while doing crazy amounts of damage with Trevor. With Trevor,
I don't use it.
When he does it, it kind of like you don't get hurt as easy. In the first rampage, I don't know if it just messed up, but like people blew through my armor and health like crazy quick. And then I was like, man, these things are hard. So then I redid it again, and it was like his are pretty easy. It's basically just snap to target, shoot, snap to target, shoot, snap to target, shoot, while running around. So the second try, I get out like no problem, aced it. But the first time, I just destroyed me. I don't know if I had a weird. That's the first time I've ever saw something that kind of struck me as glitchy. I don't know if it was just me or if I was doing it wrong, but I was like, it was kind of like one of the first moments where I was like, Jesus shit. That's right, Jesus shit, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a holy crap.
Zing.
Oh,
I see what you did there.
No, seriously, he's got holes in his crap. It's really weird.
Holy and there's yeah. Holy shit, Batman.
I don't even know if I really want to pull the can off of this. So, Mike, what things have you seen that you are unimpressed with or don't like about the game, besides the fact that you find it boring and rather go play Diablo 3 or Dragon's Crown?
Well, okay.
Thoughts?
First of all, I don't think anyone can really question the technical feat that Rockstar has pulled off with this game. It looks amazing, and I think, like, even when we were playing it on Saturday night, just driving around, rampaging it under the worst conditions possible because we were playing a digital copy. I didn't say it then, but I was tempted to throw around words like it looks like Infamous or it looks like Uncharted, especially when you get out into like the wilderness and stuff like that. And then I started, we had the conversation about how it's kind of like, it's a really good game for a handheld. It's kind of like it looks really good for a Rockstar game, because no one expects Rockstar to make games that look like this.
Well, that was my thing, is the fact that I thought the graphics look, that was my argument. The graphics look good for a Rockstar game. Now, does it look good for a next generation title at the end of the generation? It's okay graphically.
I know. I see it as like they're giving up, oh my god, crazy graphics for so much other stuff.
Oh no!
For some reason, I couldn't get over how good the roads looked, and that was the thing that I couldn't get over. I was like, man, those road textures are really good looking.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I'm not saying that. Like, I think the game looks amazing, and I think it's kind of a granted, Rockstar got like 5 years to put this thing through, and a budget that most other games would probably kill for. But they to me, we had the conversation. Were you there, Joe, when we had the conversation about developers? They with the more, we would rather have them be able to include more animations with the RAM, because the way that RAM is typically used, it has to be able to hold everything that a character can possibly do. The example given was the ability to holster your gun in Mass Effect. There is
lack of the ability to holster your gun,
right? But a lot of people wanted the ability to holster your gun, but there wasn't enough RAM, supposedly, for them to have a gun holster animation. So your character, unless it's like, unless the character doesn't have a gun, he just doesn't have a gun, but there's no way for you to put a gun away if you have a gun in your hands. And it seems like, visually, I really do think, a couple minor things here and there, like the epilepsy that is brought on by water when you're playing the digital copy. But I feel like, we talk about how you have the middle finger when you're driving around. Like, what is that? Like, that's like, usually in the past games, it was like you had a gun or you had some type of like combat thing. But now if you don't have something in your hands, your character automatically has the ability to flip people off when he's driving down the road. That's kind of, to me, that's like the biggest FU to other AAA development. Like, some of the stuff that they've pulled off with the size of the world. And
oh, you mean like after seeing this, you kind of go back to those other people like, fucking slackers.
do that?
Like, are you telling me you gave me all this bullshit for reasons you couldn't do stuff when clearly you could have?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really I can fault the game for is, I mean, and this is something that it's like a trade-off you have to make, right? It's the frame rate is an issue. Although I haven't seen screen tearing as much as I thought I would. The frame rate is an issue, but like, you're getting so much in return for a few dropped frames that it's like, oh, it's almost forgivable. and I like what I've seen, and I mean, I didn't when we were over at when we were playing it on Saturday night, I didn't touch the controller. I didn't want to touch the controller because I felt like if I touched the controller, I was gonna go and buy the damn game. And
And how did that work out for you?
well, I watched Danner play it, and everyone else there was playing. They're having a good time, and I was having fun adding color commentary, and there was some much fun to be had at the expense of 9/11.
there, there was a lot of 9/11 jokes.
Um, I don't know why, but
I don't know. It was
so. Anyways,
too soon. Too soon.
too soon. No, I don't know. Anyways, so I didn't want to play it because I knew that I was gonna. I could already tell, like, but I was having fun in that setting, sitting down with my friends playing the game and watching all the crazy stuff that happens. And I, for some reason, and that was enough for me to. And I talked to my wife about it, and she wanted to play it. I was like, well, let's go half on it. And so I paid. We paid half for it, and we picked it up, and I got home and I started playing it myself, and it's just, I don't know, it didn't have that same. I like the group mentality that comes along with Grand Theft Auto. Granted, I never played Grand Theft Auto 4 online. I never did that.
I don't think you're missing too much.
But I feel
It
like
had its moments of fun, but it was.
but after playing games like Crackdown and like just some other like cooperative situational like games like that, I feel like that's I almost feel like it was such a travesty that there wasn't co-op in the game. And I know I've beaten that horse to death about this game, but I feel, like I said on Facebook, I think I'm more excited for Grand Theft Auto Online because I'll be able to get that same chaotic experience with like Joe, and maybe if we can peer pressure Danner into buying a copy of it. I feel like we can get that same experience of just general mayhem of sitting on the couch passing the controller, but everybody gets to participate.
As long as we can recapture what me and Joe did on Grand Theft Auto 4, I'm okay with it. With him driving the moped and me sitting on the back of it with the gun shooting stuff up. So,
and see, that's fun. Like I like the general chaos of it. I feel like there's like a way to just like cut loose and actually like enjoy. I feel like I enjoy the world that they made, and you get that sense of I'm letting loose. I'm cutting loose on some steam. I'm relaxing, chilling out, shooting some police officers.
General relaxing.
Right. And I feel like that's okay. For some reason in my head, that's okay when I'm doing it with like a group of people. But just like for some reason playing the single player Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm gonna give it more of a shot. I really am. I just didn't have time to play it today because I was too depressed, and then I started drinking and eating pizza. But
wait, there was pizza?
Yep, there was pizza.
If you can't feel better after beer and pizza, then you're not human.
Might as well kill yourself.
But I feel like
might as well.
You want to borrow my box of razor blades?
No, I don't. So
they're for you, not for anybody else. Those are I wrote your name on each individual razor.
But it's the gift that keeps on giving. Well, actually taking, but whatever.
It's a taker. It's not a giver.
But
it gives to take.
Okay, I'm more excited for the online stuff because I just don't like playing it by my. So far, I'm not. There hasn't been anything that's gotten me going, oh, I need to play this. Like I've done the Michael stuff up to where you get to Franklin. And then
that was a great crossover. I didn't see that coming at all.
And then I got to Franklin's house. And that's kind of where I am. I was actually going to go and just like drive around. I thought maybe if I just go and just get in his car and I drive around, I will get caught up in the immersion of it. And then my friend asked me to play Dragon's Crown, so I went and did that.
I've been in that situation. I can only play it in short bursts. I was homesick from work today and could have put 6 nonstop hours into it, but I just couldn't do it. I really think Grand Theft Auto as an entity is, especially with the last, I don't know, starting since Vice City. If you're not playing it for the story, you're really missing out on things. And yes, the general mayhem is fun, but you're right, Mike. It's most fun when you're with people and you can all laugh and react and swap the controller with it. Because I've tried general mayhem. One of my missions, one of my goals, personal goals for playing Grand Theft Auto 5 is to take my time and not rush through the story like I tend to do with these types of games. And I've gone off and I've driven the giant circle of the island, and I had less fun doing that than I thought. And I've threw sticky bombs onto public buses as they drove into intersections and blew up every car in the area. But it doesn't hold my attention for long, and the story gets overwhelming because they're high attitude kinds of situations that just builds up. Okay, time for a break. But I really think that there will be a whole other component to this game when that online drops that we will all be able to enjoy. You guys are excited for General Chaos. I'm down for that, but I'm also excited for capturing the energy of the wonderfully orchestrated heist missions that are in the story mode into what appears to how they handle that in the online version, in the online part of that. I hope that there will be the 3 different roles and I don't have to jump between characters. It's my job to sit here in the car and wait for you guys to run out of the bank with the bags, and then we drive, and then I'm waiting for those moments. And I think that's where I will have the most fun playing online, I think.
Going for what you just said, I think my problem with this, and I don't think it's just GTA's problem. I think it's when there's a game this big, I feel like if I sit down to play it, for some reason I feel antisocial. And like as big as the game is and as long as the game is, like I don't want to be antisocial. Like I'd rather go through that experience with my friends, or I'd rather have that experience with them. Like I have no problem playing shorter single player games like like Tomb Raider, like BioShock Infinite. But I feel like if it's something this massive, I just feel like the single player closes me off from engaging with you guys.
But you as a gamer are a more naturally go towards the multiplayer and the social aspect of the games. You always have. That's your gaming style.
Yeah, my gaming style is much more sit down with it and enjoy it like a good book, with the lights on dim and completely focused on it, not distracted.
But I think it's just. But I did the last Grand Theft Auto I enjoyed was Vice City. And then after that they got huge. But multiplayer, I didn't enjoy San Andreas, but multiplayer didn't really hit me until the 360, and that's when it became like a thing. And Danny, you're right. Like I do gravitate towards the multiplayer stuff because I like playing games with my friends, and it allows us to do that. But it's just like it's kind of like it's like when we were playing what were Seansie and I playing, and we were in like a chat, and you didn't want to chat with us because you were playing. Was it Tomb Raider? Or was it Assassin's Creed or something?
I can't remember.
But it
was either Revelation. I think I might have been trying to finish Revelations.
Or was it Infinite? Seansie and I played Infinite in a chat, I think.
Yeah, most of that game, we were talking to each other while playing on our separate games.
Yeah, it must have been Infinite, and I refused to join you guys because I just wanted to focus on the story and play the game, and I didn't want to really talk because unfortunately when I'm playing my single player games, it's my experience. It's for me.
Oh no,
it's one of those. Yeah,
I totally get that. I'm just saying, like, it was kind of it's like you wanting to play those single player games, and I get that. And I played enough of BioShock Infinite by myself. There was I think Seansie and I only did that like once or twice, and then he either ended up playing more than I did, or I ended up playing more than he did, and we just got out of sync with each other. But
yeah, and it's one of those things that when you're at different points in time in the game and you're hearing about, oh God, and it's like, oh no, what's coming, and it just kind of overhyped some of the experience for me.
Right.
So.
But I feel like I don't know, just a game, but like BioShock is a short game compared to a game like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I don't want to I get the whole I'm going to sit down and treat it like it's a good book with the lights dim low and a glass of Merlot, and I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to soak it up. I get that with like a shorter, 12, 15, maybe 20 hour game. But for a game the size of like Grand Theft Auto, and maybe it's also the fact that I'm really holding it against them that they did the three protagonists, like they have the three main characters, and it's not cooperative through the story. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm making such a big deal about this is because they did that. I just feel like this is such a big game, and you gave us three characters. It's like I want to be able to, I want to be able to stay in this world as long as I can, and I can do that better if I'm playing with my friends.
I think doing that though gives it a bigger, more epic scope. Though I think it makes taking the story into that kind of direction and having three protagonists that you can jump between eventually in the game. I think it adds replayability to the game. It
Yeah.
adds new depths. It adds more, diverse storytelling, and I think it's a unique dynamic. Now, I get how you can see that it feels like a wasted game mechanic of not having the co-op there, but I get why they did what they did, but I also get why you're a little bothered by why they did what they did. But I still think it's a really interesting design choice and storytelling choice. I mean, bravo to them for going someplace other games don't go.
Well, one of the things that somebody brought up about that character switching thing is that it actually streamlines the gameplay to have three different characters that you can switch between. Because what'll happen is, like, if you do one mission with a character and you end up out in the middle of nowhere, you don't
switch
have
to another character instead of driving all the way back yourself.
Right, you don't have to drive all the way back. You can switch to somebody else while the AI for that character makes it back to wherever they need to be.
and fuck you, you can find your way back.
So, I mean, and we had this conversation before, like, yeah, it's great and everything, and they are giving us Grand Theft Auto Online, but it just goes back to me saying I will probably have more fun with it when I can play a game of that size with my friends.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say, the switching between people, I wasn't sure how I was gonna accept it, but one of the parts of the Grand Theft Auto games that I always hated is that I love being in the passenger seat of the car shooting during missions. And I hate when they make me drive and try to shoot.
And it was
well, no, I mean, because it's like I always end just like slowing down and I can't rate the motion, or if I have to rely on computer players to shoot for me.
So you can't do two things at once, is what you're saying.
Well, it depends.
Not when my pointer finger needs to be in two different places.
Exactly.
At once. Wink.
Wink. Anyways, but it was cool. I forget what mission I was doing. I was driving the car as Franklin, and it was flashing to turn to Michael. It didn't make me switch to Michael if I didn't want to. So I'm assuming I could have, aimed out the back with Franklin, shot at him that way, and probably still done it. But I switched to Michael because I like shooting anyways. But it's nice to see that if someone prefers driving the car and shooting and doing drive-bys, they can do that, or they can switch to that. So it gives them a lot of options.
Oh yeah.
Plus now, I mean, with the first heist mission, I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's nice to see that when you're playing those missions like in old Grand Theft Auto games, where it's like, oh, you're just doing this, and this other character did all this cool stuff off screen. It's cool that it switches you to do that off, so you're supporting yourself by getting shit ready,
Right.
Where it's like, oh, this person has to do this while you're doing this. No, you end up doing both, which I think that's just it. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it before, but now that I have played it, I love that.
Can I talk about the controls for a second?
No.
I think this is like I think it'd be fine on the 360 because the 360 controller has more tension on the sticks than the PS3 controller. But driving, I have not figured that shit out yet. It literally, the car will go, the car goes where you tell it to, but the problem is where you tell it to and where you have the analog stick isn't always the same thing. Just in the one, like the first race that I was in with Franklin. There were times where I spun the car like all the way around and I didn't even move it that far.
How much Grand Theft Auto 4 did you play?
Not a lot. It's better than Grand. No, it is better than
Yes,
Grand Theft Auto
it's
4.
way better than 4.
No, all the
Honestly, I
controls are
prefer
better.
4.
You prefer the driving in 4?
Yeah, the cars had weight, and I could tell when I needed to slow down to go around corners. These cars feel more like a Need for Speed car that can take a corner at 150 miles an hour, and you don't need to. But at the same time, when you move that joystick just a little bit over, it's like 90 degrees.
Yep.
Frick, you're turning that direction now. And so I end up kind of zigzagging down the road a lot.
Yeah,
Trying to
that's good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that experienced that.
Yeah.
Now,
I have noticed that actually buying upgrades and stuff for your car means something because it does drastically change how good your car is.
I have an upgraded car and it's parked in a garage right now, and I'm afraid to touch it because of the glitches they've been advertising about.
So, the one with the mission? Like if you start a mission and...
Yeah, start a mission with a car in the garage, and then you go get the car and it never appears again.
Well, the one I heard was if you drive that car to the mission, and in that mission it makes you get into a different car, you lose whatever that first car you had.
Yeah, that car needs to teleport back to the garage.
Well, thanks for giving me another reason not to play it.
I don't know if
realism.
I don't know if it's on everything, but
the other little thing, and this is just like me, it's used to me being used to like one set of controls versus another. Most PlayStation 3 games, L1 is aim and R1 is shoot, and I usually go into the controls and flip them so that L2 is aim and R2 is aim and shoot. Now in Grand Theft Auto 5, they've already done that. That's the actual control scheme, is that L2 is shoot or aim and R2 is shoot. And I keep going and hitting L1 and R1 and nothing ends up happening. It's like I was expecting it to have the standard PlayStation 3 shooting controls, and then I would have to go and switch them or whatever. Or I was kind of expecting it to
it surprises you, and it's already there.
Yeah. I'm not used to it yet. So
good on them. So I want to discuss some numbers before we move on to our next subject.
Okay.
So 800 million in 24 hours. Industry record sales.
I thought you were gonna say hookers killed in the first.
Yes.
Like
Hookers killed.
$800
billion
million.
in the first 3 days, making it the fastest selling entertainment product in the history of the industry.
You think they're going to make Grand Theft Auto 6?
No.
I doubt it. I'm sure they're going to abandon it after that. Has the third highest rating on Metacritic at 97 out of 100.
After what and what?
Only behind Grand Theft Auto 4 and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Multiple 10 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s from pretty much every single game magazine imaginable.
Rockstar knows how to make a game.
Mm-hmm.
Critically acclaimed and also loved by gamers. It's, the few times that critics and fans both agree on something. To me, the numbers are, it's pretty impressive. Not gonna lie, it's a little impressive. It automatically makes me feel like a douche because I haven't gone out and bought it. Just looking at the numbers, but I get a PS4 to pay for, and that's kind of what I'm working on.
Hey, you can always get Grand Theft Auto 5 on that.
Yeah, when it doesn't come out on the next system.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Yeah.
You really don't think it will now when they can double dip?
I was thoroughly convinced that it's not going to happen until you brought up the bully argument with me, and now I'm second guessing everything because I totally forgot about bully and the fact that it was released on the PS2 and then it got a revamped version for the 360.
Like forever later.
Yeah, forever later, but it did come out, and I know it's not going to be soon. Time will tell. Time will tell. So with that being said, we will see you on the other side of a pullback ad.
Woo.
The Pullbag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join your host, TFG1 Mike, and the rest of the GCRN crew as we make our way through the comics we are reading. Inside the Pullbag, you'll also find back-issue classic episodes and origins of how we, the GCRN crew,
And
got
we
into
are
comic
back
book reading.
after a Pullbag.
You can find the Pullbag on iTunes
riveting.
and on
Riveting.
www.geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics and
Straight up
jump
Shakespearean.
into the Pullbag.
I know.
Today, maybe I'll do it in Old English next time. You
that,
never know.
that would
We'll
be
find-
awesome.
Welcome to ye old Pullbag.
Doth thou readeth?
Doth thou readeth a fortnight? Henceforth, going
Are we just trying to think of old-timey words now?
a
For
plague, a plague in the house of Montague. Oh, poor
Montague?
Uric, poor
Should have
Uric.
said
I know him well.
it should have been a plague in the house of Xavier.
Yeah, it should be. Oh, wheels are turning. Maybe
That'd be
next
an
time.
interesting take. Romeo and Juliet meets Charles Xavier in the House of M.
Eh,
I'd see that
Oh.
alternate reality.
Oh, we're going with it. All right. So, our second
$1 million
topic
idea.
today- our second topic today is we kind of want to spend the time to reflect upon Nintendo and all of its glory since their president that brought them to the forefront of the video game entertainment industry, Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Yeah, Uche Mama.
Of course, you're gonna shit all over that by saying
I told you I was gonna say it.
you're a real dick. You know what? A man died, and way to be a dick and ruin everything, Sean.
Well, I figured since you were hosting, I'd take up your position for the episode.
He doesn't interrupt me as much as you interrupt him.
Yeah.
Well,
See, it's to the point where if it's effortless for me, you're just trying too hard.
sorry, I'm not naturally douchey. I have to work at it a
That's-
little harder than you.
That's your own fault. I like to look in the mirror at home and practice my douchiness before I get on here, so I can be at peak performance levels.
You know
So-
what? Thinking about you in the mirror douching yourself really isn't that big of a shock
All right,
to
seriously,
me.
how am I supposed to edit this out? 'Cause most
So
At least you imagined him doing it into the mirror. I imagined him saying, "Come here, wife. Come here, children. I need to practice my
Come here.
douchebaggery on you."
That's what he calls them too at home. Wife, children, come here, grab the hose. Like,
Oh, son, good for you. I'm glad you got a gold star today. Let me knock you down a few pegs, okay, and bring you back to reality.
You know what I'm
Now-
gonna do? I'm gonna censor that talk about that stuff.
like,
I'm gonna keep everything, but I'm just gonna censor it with some like piano music, elevator music, and then it'll just come back to us ragging.
The girl
on
from
each other.
Ipanema, instrumental version.
I was thinking, what is that song?
Benny Hill.
Technical
Benny Hill.
difficulties.
Yeah, the Benny Hill music.
oh god.
That's called yakety sax.
Yeah,
There you
whenever
go.
Charlie Chaplin falls.
So anyway, we're here to talk about Hiroshi Yamauchi. Don't do it, Sean. Don't fucking do it.
What?
Exactly. He was born on November 7th, 1927, and died on September 19th, 2013. He was the third president of Nintendo, joining the company in
If you're gonna
1949.
save the United States, I was gonna be like, holy shit.
Stop. And he joined the company in 1949 until he stepped down on May 31st of 2002. And when he named Satoru Iwata as his successor.
So he pretty
He-
much launched everything up to the GameCube.
Yeah, he started when he started he was 22 when he started in the company. He was named, his dad named him successor. It was a completely family run company. He actually broke protocol and when he named Iwata the president, because that was the first time they had a non-family member as the president of the company. But it was because, and he, when he stepped down, it was because of the fact that he was burnt out. He didn't feel like he had the right ideas to carry Nintendo forward from that point on. And
He was no longer leading the company into the future. He was holding it in the past.
well, I don't think he was necessarily holding in the past. I just think he saw that the industry was getting ready to change, and he saw somebody who had the better potential to bring them where they needed to be.
Yeah, that worked out.
It it did
Well,
though.
financially, it has, but
Financially, it has. The Wii
critically,
and
no.
and more importantly, the DS all came under Iwata's tutelage. So I mean,
And then there's the Wii U. Wah, wah.
but Nintendo was a card company. They made cards.
Playing cards, like, well, Hanafuda cards, the kind of
Yeah.
Japanese. I can't even describe what type of game it is. I've tried to teach myself to play it. I got a set through the Nintendo Fun Club collecting points thing, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. I need to find somebody who plays it. But either way, that's where they got their start, with the playing cards, and then slowly got into toys and toy manufacturing. And then we have Yamauchi to thank for saying, "What about those electronic video game things?"
Yeah, and he actually started pushing them into the direction of gaming, and they got into. They did start with like the smaller, like credit card style, like the play and watches, that kind of style gaming. But then they broke really big in the arcade industry with introducing Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers into the arcade. And I think that's
Yamauchi was the one who hired all of our
Miyamoto.
heroes. Miyamoto.
Yeah. The Famicom, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube all came under his presidency with Nintendo. He had a hand and responsibility in, dare I say it, the golden age of gaming. It's the stuff we grew up with. It's the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Famicom. It's so many memories. Why is it anytime I go into like a Nintendo loving memory thing, Link to the Past is always the first thing that pops into my head every single time.
I
I
remember.
can hear the theme music now.
I just have
remember
such
reading Nintendo Powers.
fond, happy memories, and it always comes back to that game. That game is like my heart.
Blackened and shriveled?
No, when I used to have feelings, that was my heart. Link to the Past. And now it's cold and dead inside, like Perfect Dark Zero.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, that's dead on the outside too.
so does anybody have any fond memories of the work that Yamauchi did? Any feelings that they want to share about the golden heyday of Nintendo?
the Super Nintendo was great. It's where I had an NES, but gaming for me didn't really become a thing until the Super Nintendo and the N64.
Yeah.
Like those two consoles kind of solidified myself as a gamer.
Yeah, that's without those I don't know what I would be doing now. I don't know if I would still be playing games. I don't know if video games would be the same.
I mean, it's not like I wasn't. I had access to a Genesis and stuff like that, but I didn't own one. My cousins did. And the Genesis games just didn't feel. It could be because of the controller or other other things with their games, but I never felt like they. I never felt like they were as good as a Nintendo game. I don't think it really mattered which one it was. I mean, I don't. I mean, there there were Sega games that I enjoyed, right? But not enough to make me want or ask my parents for a console for Christmas or anything like that. It was always Nintendo. It was Excite Bike. It was Mario. It was Duck Hunt. It was Donkey Kong Country from Rare. It was Metroid Prime. It was the Metroid series. And those are the games that I grew up with. That they're the reasons that I like certain games I like now.
I think it was under his watch that we got two of the most influential video game designers of all time hired. I mean, that was under him. He hired, of course, Miyamoto and Gunpei, the guy who invented the D-pad for all of us, and among other things, Kid Icarus and Metroid. Those were his babies too. But between that and I think the air of this needs to be perfect before we'll release it on our system, that kind of quality control, I'm sure, came from his level down throughout the whole company. And I think that is what resulted in Nintendo. When you played a game for Nintendo, even if it wasn't first party, there was at least some amount of quality there. Play control, the buttons did what they were supposed to do. They reacted the way you thought they should. There wasn't, did I already say delay? There wasn't a delay. I think he was responsible for a lot of things, and I hate to admit it, but I think Iwata coming in, yes, he made some good business decisions with the DS and the Wii, but that turn in away from where the rest of the industry was going, I don't know. Was that the right decision for Nintendo? Are they going to still be relevant? They're still rolling in money. They could fail 2 hardware generations and still be sitting on their mountain of Wii money. But I think we lost something when he stepped down as president, and I don't think Nintendo, if he were young and active, I don't think Nintendo would be in the state they're in now without Iwata having taken over.
Yeah, I mean, I like the DS. I mean, I didn't like the first generation of the DS. I've liked it since the DS Lite, and I like my 3DS. I liked the Wii U, but I got it before there were any games for it, and now I can't buy another one. But I don't know. There was something great about the Super Nintendo, and and even the N64. I remember being super excited for the N64 because 64 bits. Never mind.
Twice as many as the PS1.
Yeah, never mind that the Jaguar had the same thing supposedly. But I remember getting a system on Christmas in '96 and setting up a little cockpit in my bedroom and playing Shadows of the Empire.
Awesome.
Like it was in obviously there's only like 3 or 4 flying levels in that entire thing, but no, I had my little spaceship thing. And I don't know. I've always liked Nintendo controllers. I always felt like they got that. But going just real quick side note here, because a while back when we talked about Nintendo early on, and we brought up the D-pad, and we had a commenter, I think it was TV's Mr. Neil, said that the D-pad was actually the name D-pad actually comes from Sega, and it's because they had the A, B, and C buttons.
So D was the pad,
and D was the pad. Do you know anything about that, Joe?
I have heard nothing about that, and I would believe it if it were actually labeled that. But I've always understood or been led to believe that the D was for directional.
Me too.
And at the end of the day, though, it doesn't matter who named it. It was on the Game and Watches first, and eventually on the NES controller.
Yeah,
I think that gives it to it.
The only other company that gets the D-pad the way that Nintendo does is Sony.
Yeah, but Sony kind of splits it up right into 4 buttons.
Well, yeah, but it's 4 buttons because they can't have the same look.
Yeah, right. Isn't it like if they connect those buttons, then they have to give them money, right?
It's something like that. Yeah,
Nintendo owns it.
But I've heard that it's been so long since that patent came out that I guess either it is now or soon everyone can have it. I'm not sure.
Well, I think if
it's
Nintendo keeps renewing or using the patent, it's not going to expire. like a book publisher, if they don't publish it for 25 years, it goes open license. But if they publish it again in 10 years, it renews. But a lot of companies have just paid Nintendo the royalty and put a D-pad on their system. I mean, does Microsoft? I think Microsoft's would count, even though it's got the round.
No, I don't think Microsoft does actually.
Well, I think their D-pad is entirely different, and that's why it feels funky. Like when you
Yeah,
push,
it's
when you
it
push
almost
left,
it's like a
it's like a joystick with a D-pad. on
yeah,
top of it.
it's more of a joystick. It's actually balanced on a center point.
You're not actually like clicking a button. Yeah, you're moving a stick. That's more like an Atari stick, kind of like an actual joystick. Like what is your favorite accessory, like Nintendo product or accessory or anything?
Rumble
like
Pack on the N64.
NES Advantage.
That's
NES
a
Advantage.
tough question, man.
What's an NES Advantage?
What?
It was the arcade joystick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The big thing with the two. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the Ghostbusters 2 thing, right?
What? Yes, that they piloted the Statue of Liberty with.
Okay, thank you. All right. I honestly really like the Game Boy camera.
Oh, I used the snot out of that.
I even like the little like Polaroid stickers. The printout stickers that they did. I don't know.
Wow.
I really liked the Game Boy Pocket. The silver one. I didn't really care for all the other colors. Because it was the first time they put like a black and white screen in it instead of the green.
I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance to mess with a oh god, what'd they call it? The Game Boy Pocket that came out in Japan. DS the Game Boy Light came out in Japan only. That's a real nice lit up old Game Boy. It looks like one of those green screen LED watches from the 80s.
Oh.
It's a giant screen and it's awesome. It's brilliant.
That sounds really neat.
I'll show it to you next time you're up.
Woo. Let's see.
I don't have a favorite accessory except I would really like to well, I wish that they would have let Rare get away with ejecting the Rumble Pack and putting it back in to reload your gun in GoldenEye like they wanted to.
So cool.
Except they were afraid it was going to break. And they were probably
Which
right.
it probably would have. Somebody would have snapped something.
I really like the N64 controller.
Me too. I don't know
Yep.
what it is. It looked awkward. I don't know what it was about it.
I mean, I like I like the I honestly wish that when they did the GameCube controller, I wish they just would have lobbed off the D-pad from the N64 controller. I wish they still would have had the trigger under your finger, and like the C stick. I really like, or the C buttons. I like the C buttons. It made it. That was like the first time like playing first-person shooters on a console. It was really nice because I believe the C buttons became with games like Turok and stuff. They became like the WASD keys.
Yeah, look up, look down, and
Yeah,
straight.
you'd hold you'd switch and use right hand on the center, left hand on the left, right?
Yep. So, Dana, you found some information about that D button?
Yes, Sega coined the term D button to describe the pads, using the term when describing the controllers for the Mega Drive in instruction manuals and in other literature. So they coined D button, not necessarily D pad, but they did refer to it as a D button at one point in time. So yeah,
Learn something new.
yeah,
Group
there you
effort.
go.
That they had to give Nintendo money.
Yep.
Did they? Was it the same type of?
Sega
Yep.
did.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, they may have coined the phrase, but they didn't own the rights to it. So, does anybody, like, when you think Nintendo and classic Nintendo, like, what's the first, like, when you say Nintendo Entertainment System, what's the first game that pops in your mind?
Blowing into the entertainment system.
Blowing. That was your game. That was the game that
That was-
popped in your mind.
That was the game.
He
Yeah.
did that more than play the game sometimes.
Well, there you go, Sean.
Sadly, Top Gun.
Oh
Good.
man, Top Gun.
That game got
Joe?
so much easier when I realized you only needed to hold down the speed up or slow down buttons.
I could
Instead
never
of
make it
tapping.
off of the never make it off the aircraft
I
carrier.
can never land.
Off. Yeah,
Off.
fine. Never landed one successfully. Not once. That
I
entire game.
remember renting it and I'm like, all right, here I go, and then in the ocean.
Oh man.
Then in the
I
ocean.
can do it.
And I was like, screw this, I'm taking this back to the rental store.
No,
Oh,
I could
man.
I could take off just fine, but as soon as you came to a part where you had to land, I'm
Yeah,
like,
because
well,
taking
that's
off
a
was
stress.
automatic.
No,
Sorry.
it wasn't.
You
Yes,
could
it was.
you could mess up taking off. I
No,
think
you couldn't. It was automatic. It lets you
No.
control it once you're in the air.
What about Top Gun 2?
I think I bought that. I don't remember playing it yet.
Hmm.
But I'm
What's the
100%
first-
sure it's automatic taking off, at least on Top Gun 1.
Joe,
know
what's
about
the first game that comes to your mind when you think Nintendo Entertainment System?
Mario. Probably thinking Mario 3.
For some odd reason, mine, Burger Time.
I have to agree with Joe though. In all seriousness, the Mario, because that's the game that came with almost every Nintendo, was Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. I mean,
I can't remember being more well, I guess Grand Theft Auto 5 probably, but I can't think of a time I was more excited for a game after having seen Wizard and how awesome that Mario 3 footage looked that I wanted that game. That's the only game from that era I remember getting at the Kmart down the street from our house and taking home, and God, that thing must have been $60 or $70.
man, okay, yeah, I remember like my parents went and bought Super Mario Brothers 3 and woke my ass up at like midnight. And we're like, hey, we got this for you. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't even like I don't my parents insisted I asked for all this stuff, and I don't remember asking for any of it. They insisted that I asked for Super Mario Brothers 3, and so they went out at midnight and got it for me from the local Kmart as well. And
What was Kmart doing open at midnight?
they did it for Super Mario.
Weird.
Or at least, when I was, when did that game come out? When I was like 10, 12, like it felt like midnight anyways. I just remember being woken up with ice cream and here, play this game for a little while, then go back to bed.
Yeah,
Here's a
right,
brand
Mom.
new game and ice cream. Go get sugared up, play this game, and then you're gonna go to school.
Hey,
tomorrow.
this is the kid. I'm the kid that used to leave their parents like runaway notes, notes threatening to run away unless they ordered me a Lego set.
Jesus, man, really?
We would our bedrooms were the kids' bedrooms were upstairs, and so was the parents' bedroom. But kids go to bed before the parents, and some nights I would write a little note saying, if you don't order me, like, and I'd have like the name of the set along with the serial number, and I'd go and sneak into their bedroom and I put it on their bed so they'd see it when they go to bed. They never like came to like talk to me about them, but within like a week, I'd come home from school and the Lego set would be sitting on my bed.
You are a terrible child.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, holy shit.
What
No
a
wonder you
dick.
don't want kids.
No,
Is there anything like
no,
you?
No.
There's other reasons for that.
Oh yes, there are, and it's the reason I was drinking tonight. But and they insisted that I wanted a Super Nintendo, but I don't remember wanting a Super Nintendo. Like I don't remember like Super Nintendo being a thing until it showed up like under the Christmas tree. And then
I
after
remember
that,
I remember selling my Nintendo and all my games to pay for my Super Nintendo system.
luckily I've never had to do that.
Ad in the Ann Arbor News. That's how I sold my Nintendo.
I've never sold video game stuff to buy other video game stuff.
Well, Lottie freaking da for you.
But you know what? I have nothing to show for it. So, other than shelves that are full of, games. And not as many games as I would like. I don't know.
Oh, boo frickety
mean,
who. Why don't you write him another note, tell him you're going to run away?
I already have. I still
You
have
wrote it today.
I still have my original copies of Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger.
Nice.
Which is amazing to me because the battery backups in those things still work. Like most things that I have that have a battery in them have gone dead already. And these games are like almost 20 years old. Um,
It's impressive.
do you know anything about how that stuff works, Joe?
Yeah, there's a battery soldered in it.
Well,
and
yeah, but usually, okay,
Whoa,
thank
whoa.
you. No way.
Thank you,
But like,
Professor fucking Joe.
but like the battery, like
Science.
I don't know of too many batteries that last for 20 years.
It's Nintendo's quality control. They probably put the most expensive, highest quality battery they could ever put in there. There's only one game out of everything that I own that the battery backup is bad on, and that one is Mario Lost Levels, the Super Nintendo cartridge that had Mario 1, 2, 3, and then Japanese Mario 2. That one is fried. And it was fried pretty quickly after I got it, so I think it was just defective from factory, and I haven't bothered to put it in there because I can beat all those games in one sitting anyway, except for Lost Levels where I can't even beat the second level.
Hmm. Well, anyone else have anything they want to add? I mean, I wish, I don't know, I wish Nintendo would go back to being the Nintendo that we all enjoyed.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious.
Me too.
Like,
I mean, I wish it would go that way, but it's like I wish it was like the hate. It's never gonna be like it was.
But it could be.
But it can't be. They're not going to go back to exact same business model. You got to keep looking towards the future, and you got to keep changing things.
Well, I don't want the same business model, but I want the same attitude pointed at the new business model.
The problem is you keep reminiscing about how you want things be the same, and then we sit around and bitch about the fact that, man, all they do is come out with fucking Mario and Zelda games. They don't do anything new, which is already the problem.
yeah, I mean, how long has it been since we had an actual Metroid game? Like, when was
Yeah.
when was the
Well, they're scared of giving those properties away. I mean, that happened with Zelda. They got burned on. That happened with Metroid Other M. They're probably going to keep that in-house for a very long time and
Happened
sit
with
on
Star
it until
Fox
people
as well.
forgot. Yep.
See, I would jump. I think at this point, if like we've talked about this before, if we got a Metroid game that was like Zombie U, I would jump at that. If they came out with another like internally developed Star Fox game that was actually flying and not beating small critters over the head with a staff, I would jump at that. Like, I would justify, holy hell, the Wii U. I would justify that to Allie, or not. I would just go buy one, like, regardless of what she thought.
I don't think Nintendo could release a game, a Mario, Zelda, anything game that would make me want to go buy the system. I need to see a change in the entire direction. I want to see what Nintendo would do building a real online system with, like, multiplayer games intended for adults. I want to know what because if they sat down to do it, it would frickin' work.
I like the Weverse or the Miiverse or whatever it is.
No, that can stay, I guess, in that way. But I mean, if Nintendo did a proper online matchmaking type of thing instead of the ridiculous friend code garbage,
Well,
if they built their own network, it would be.
They have that in the Wii U. The problem is they lost their audience. Like, there are no friend codes anymore with the Wii U.
Oh, isn't there one friend code that goes across the whole system?
Maybe, but I don't think you have to actually exchange it. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I never saw a friend code when I set up my system.
But you also didn't have any friends who had a Wii U, right?
Well, yeah, but I didn't. I mean, you can follow people though. Like, you can add people.
I mean,
You can follow people like on Twitter.
I think so. I can't remember. I can't remember. Like, and you're right, Joe. I didn't dive like headlong into it, but a lot of the stuff, like, they refined a lot of it because they heard all the complaints from the Wii and from the DS.
I don't think they heard all the complaints, or that system would actually be a next gen system and not a current gen system.
Okay. Okay, but now we're talking about two different things. So.
All right. So, viewer questions for next week. What game could Nintendo possibly make that would get you to buy a Wii U? And then also, no, don't answer now. We'll talk about it next week. Let's throw it out to them.
That was a joke anyway. Nobody wants that.
And also remember, you can send us your feedback on the forums at www.geekcrn.com. geekcastradio.com. And you can also email us at feedback@geekcastradio.com. Last week's question we did pose, which is what next gen games are you getting, or what console are you getting, or both. And as of right now, nobody really responded. So we'll respond. Joe isn't getting a next gen console as of right now.
Unless
So,
I do really well at the Geek Stuff garage sale.
yeah. So what games would you pick up at launch, in the launch window?
In the launch window, Watch Dogs is probably the thing I'm most excited for, and I'm only kind of excited for that. I'm still waiting for my Last Guardian to come out someday.
There's been more talk about it, that they said the project isn't dead.
And when Ico went free on PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus, that sends a signal to me too. I think they're trying something there.
And Shadow of Colossus was free a month ago.
What was it?
How did I miss that? I mean, I already own it, but
yeah.
The Sony's Tokyo Game Show conference was last Tuesday when Grand Theft Auto came out, and they said that I saw a really funny tweet. It was like Sony could squash all of this Grand Theft Auto media coverage by just getting up on stage and going "The Last Guardian" and then dropping the mic and walking off.
Yeah.
I don't think they could do that because there's probably 20 people in the world who want that game.
I think there's more than that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's Grand Theft Auto numbers.
It would be but they're talking about squashing the media coverage.
They could squash they could do the media coverage.
Like they're saying like just announcing Last Guardian with a release date would, push Grand Theft Auto off the headlines. Regardless of how many people want it, just the games journalism would the enthusiast press would grab it and run with it. So
Sean, what games are you planning on getting at launch?
In the launch window, definitely Watch Dogs. I'm very interested for that game.
Have you pre-ordered yet?
What?
Have
I pre-ordered my system? No.
Yeah, no.
Not yet. Nope. When I have the money, a lot of other things come first.
Yeah. Was Watch Dogs it, or?
No, Watch Dogs, Battlefield, Call of Duty. Pretty much everybody. Like, there's nothing like that I'm gonna say that's crazy different than anything else.
Mike, what are you planning on picking up?
Well, what I'm curious about though, Sean, is you haven't pre-ordered one yet. Are you still going to pick up like Battlefield 4, like on current gen?
I think I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
Just because I know they're doing the upsell $10 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if enough of my friends are playing it on this system, I might do that. But as of right now, I'm not planning on it.
Yeah, for me, I think, well, obviously PlayStation 4, because we talked about Dan and I having raging hard-ons earlier.
Raging big old boners.
Mine was, anyways. Had a hard time.
Danner's was throbbing.
Had a hard time driving after Danner said that his PlayStation would show up on the 15th instead of the 22nd. Obviously I've got Ghost pre-ordered for both Danner and I. I've got Allie's gonna pick up Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna pick up Watch Dogs. I have like a whole slew of games. Like I'm gonna grab Need for Speed Rivals, Lego Marvel Superheroes. That's probably it, because I don't see how I'm gonna finish like 2 open world games and like a multiplayer shooter. I feel like that's going to be enough to tide me over until February when Infamous Second Son shows up.
Yeah.
And then of course in the spring there'll be Destiny and Division. So.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, Danner. Do you like? I don't know if you understood what I was saying. The PlayStation Network is running one of their promotions again, where every $50 you spend gets you $10 in PlayStation Network money.
Oh no! I understood completely what you're saying.
Okay.
I just
don't care.
I guess I have absolutely no interest in playing Ghosts before the new system comes out.
Well, maybe I'll do it maybe I'll just do it myself since I would really like the digital copy for the PlayStation 4, and I'll just send you a physical copy of it.
Well, I'm fine with the digital. I'd rather have the digital copy for the PS4. I just don't want a digital copy for my PS3. Is my issue.
Well, the only I'm curious to see it because I want to be able to see something. It'd be interesting to have a game that actually bridges the gap.
And see the difference between them.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
No,
we can experiment.
That's kind of how I'm looking at. I may have to like send you like a $60 PlayStation Network gift card or something somehow.
Yeah.
So you can pre-order it on your system. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But what Sony's doing is essentially, they've got that $10 upgrade program for certain games. Sony's kind of taking that one step further, and if you pre-order, you can pre-order Ghost right now in October. Anytime you spend more than $50 on the PlayStation Store, they give you $10 in credit
before October 29th.
Right. But one of the games that you can pre-order is Call of Duty Ghost, and then Call of Duty Ghost also has the $10 upgrade thing for the PlayStation 4.
So essentially, it'd be free.
Yes, exactly. 2 copies
to
of
upgrade
for free.
Let me rephrase that: free to upgrade.
Yes.
Not free.
Right.
Because if it was free, it'd be fucking awesome.
And the reason we're excited about the digital copy is that way, anytime someone wants to jump online and
you're on.
Just do it. I don't have to worry
go.
about switching discs. I don't have to.
No loading, no nothing. You go.
Yep, exactly.
You get your game invite and you're in the game playing.
So
the seamlessness is going to be awesome.
I think
It's gonna be boner inspiring.
Allie and I,
Bonerific.
We made the decision that co-op games, online style games, that her and I are both going to play will be purchased digitally, which means essentially any multiplayer online game that I have, I'll be able to just go like, boom, I'm in. No waiting for me to get up and walk 5 feet to switch the disc.
Lazy bastard.
I am.
I was gonna say, as of right now, I'm planning on AC4 and Ghosts, of course, and Watch Dogs, and I'm probably gonna pick up a Lego Marvel for me and Graydon to play.
See, Assassins, that's one of those ones I might get that current gen. I don't know yet.
You can always. AC4 has got never mind. I was gonna say there's an upgrade deal for AC4, but it has to be PS3 to PS4 and UB360 to.
Yeah, but the problem with that game is a lot of the games that I'm definitely waiting for are going to be multiplayer games, whereas that one, the multiplayer is fun and all, but I never really played it too much. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and of course the whatever, the loading will be better on the next systems, the graphics will be better, but not to the point that it would make the game unenjoyable on a current gen.
Yeah.
So that's one of those ones that, like, Watch Dogs, that one's on the fence for me too, to be honest with you. Because like the only exception is I think if you get the current gen Watch Dogs, all of the tablet stuff doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or am I confusing that? I think I might be confusing that with Battlefield 4.
I think that might be Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't said. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure.
What are we talking
Watch
about?
Dogs.
Well, Watch Dogs. I might get
the tablet stuff for.
Yeah,
Watch
but the
Dogs?
tablet stuff for Battlefield 4, if you get the current gen system, that's not in the game. Where like the commander can send in strikes and order stuff around, that's just cut from that part of the game.
Yeah.
They're not going to try to make the app on the mobile platforms work with 2 different versions of the game.
I can't blame them.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on there. That would be a nightmare.
The other thing with this upgrade stuff is, regardless if you're going Xbox One or 360 to Xbox One or PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, the single player game saves don't carry over. It's your multiplayer progress that carries over.
Yeah.
So that was came out kind of well. I kind of assumed that's what it was, but that actually was confirmed today on Kotaku.
Yeah. Plus, there's definitely games, current gen games coming out still that I'm excited and waiting for. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything after Grand Theft Auto 5 unless I'm really making an egregious error.
Beyond Two Souls.
XCOM Enemy Within.
Nope.
Beyond Two Souls.
Nope.
But speaking of the current generation, please remember that we are doing our 7 generation awards, our generation awards, as you will. We're still accepting entries. On the forums, you can find the list of questions, and I reiterate the rules of please pick 3 for each category, with the exception of the council question. Also, be as descriptive as possible when talking about the games. If you mean Call of Duty 4, write Call of Duty 4. If you mean Modern Warfare 2, write Modern Warfare 2. Don't put Call of Duty down as a general answer. If you're talking about Assassin's Creed games, specify, please. The more specific you are, the more specific I can be in the voting and the recording of the and tabulating of the answers. And then the
nice use of tabulating.
Yeah, yes, and then the we will reveal the winners the week of the PS4 launch.
No, week before, because
the week before. We'll do it the week before.
You guys won't be here.
Right.
We won't be, because it's a Wednesday and it launches on a Friday.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, since I'm not going to be getting my lunch, I really didn't care.
Well, this has been Off the Cuff, episode 29. I've been Danner. You can find me on Twitter at ArtDanner, or on Xbox Live as Weapon12, which will be a miracle if you find me there, or on the PSN as X51 the Machine Man. Mike?
I've been Michael Powers, as always. Never duplicated, often imitated. You can find me on Twitter and the PlayStation Network on at Booth Ninja 81. Seansie?
And as always, I've been Seansie Brown. You can find me on Twitter at Seansie Brown. You can find me on Xbox Live at Weapon87. You will eventually be able to find me on PlayStation Network at the same thing, right? Yep. Joe?
And I have been Joe Reed. I have world-breaking news. I have a Twitter.
Whoa.
Wait,
you can
really?
tweet me at Joe Reed Geek. And in fact, I would love to get some twits from you guys, because I don't know what I'm doing yet.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to find you right now.
Oh
Joe
my God,
Reed
what?
Geek.
I've actually been twitting, or whatever they call it.
Tweeting, you dumbass. Twitterpating.
Oh my gosh, you've got 2 tweets.
He does?
2, that's more than I thought I sent. That's awesome.
Of course my wife would follow Chris Evans on Twitter. If I had a vagina, I'd follow Chris Evans too.
You're welcome, world. I would love to hear from our listeners, so please tweet me. I can also be found on PlayStation Network at Ildfire 405. And most importantly, you can find me on Facebook through the Geek Stuff Garage Sale page. Feel free to message me there too. And
hey Joe, you are almost Twitter user number 2 billion.
wow,
You were
I should have
Twitter
waited.
You were Twitter user 1,898,656,609.
How many of those are spam accounts?
2 billion of them.
Most, all of them.
So, all right, Dan, you want to take us home?
Until next week, your base belong to us.
Wow, you destroyed that.
All your base belong to us? Until
Yes.
next week, all your base belong to us.
No, it's
Wow.
all your base are belong
to us.
Are belong to us.
Until next week, all your base are belong to us.
Wow.
4
that
takes.
was
Seriously,
gentlemen.
I gotta go. I
4
gotta go.
takes.
rough.
Goodbye.
You literally just fly a penis into an asshole. That's literally what the game is.
I believe
Not
that I believe that is called ramming in War Thunder, and I get accused of that a lot. But then I have to kindly remind the other person that it takes 2 to ram. You could have turned it any time. Hello everybody, my name is Ardano. This is episode 29 of Off the Cuff, and we're covering something blah blah blah.
What's the guy's name from Nintendo? Because I'm totally gonna fuck that up.
Joe?
I wrote it down somewhere.
Joe,
did
I'm
you-
sorry, I muted my mic. Give me a second.
I
Oh
got
my god.
Yamauchi. It's something Yamauchi.
I
Yes,
just
let's have
Yamauchi.
the unsober one tell us the name of the Japanese dude.
I'm looking it up on Twitter because I know I tweeted his name not like an hour ago.
I had it in the Facebook chat.
Hiroshi
Yamauchi.
Yamauchi. Hiroshi Yamauchi. Okay.
Hiroshi Yamauchi.
It's not Yamauchi.
No.
Yamauchi. Okay.
Yamauchi Mama.
You're a bad person.
I'm a horrible person, but I'm totally saying that when you say his name.
I think it is Yamauchi. So I bought my 3 terabyte drive the other day on eBay.
Uh-huh.
Showed up this morning already.
What's that for?
I needed a big storage unit of some sort just to store things, for storing. And they had they have like a Monday mystery deals on eBay, and they had a brand new Western Digital 3 terabyte for $95.
Yeah, that's a really good deal.
So
What are you gonna do with 3 terabytes? Jesus.
I don't download a fuckload of porn. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
What are you gonna do with the other
I
terabyte?
think the most porn I've ever had at one
Family
time
pictures?
was like 100 gigabytes.
Really, dude? That's disturbing.
Pixels in the animation has now left the Mushroom Kingdom, paisans, to enter the realm of Hyrule in episodes 16 through 20 of PETA. Join TV's Mr. Neil and TFG1 Mike as they are going through the classic, and I'm using actual air quoted fingers right now for this, for the Legend of Zelda animated series. This time around, a special guest joins the guys for the Zelda reviews. It's the famed Ender from Radio Free Cybertron and the Pullbag. So tune in and help us find the pixels in the animation, which you can find on iTunes and www. Wow. WWs. I apologize. I'm gonna start over. I just like saying W. WKRP in Cincinnati. Nobody? Anybody? No? Okay.
No.
I messed up and I'm gonna start over.
WKBR, the
I
news with the most.
I
Like,
apologize, Mike. You're actually gonna have to edit something for once. The Pullbag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join your host TFG1 Mike and the rest of the GCRN crew as we make our way through the comics we're reading. Inside the Pullbag, you'll also find back-issue classic episodes and origins of how we, the GCRN crew, got into comic book reading. You can find the Pullbag on iTunes and on www. I did it again. Son of a motherfucking bitch. geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics and jump into the Pullbag today. That's actually the website too.
it's a long URL.
All right. I'll try that again. Just a second.
You're roboting out on my end. I hope it's not coming through the recording.
I'm not hearing it.
Okay. Let me.
Well, so are you, Mike, now.
Well, let's try. We'll do that. The Pullbag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join your host TFG1 Mike and the rest of the GCRN crew as we make our way through the comics we are reading inside the mother.
I was gonna say, like, are you trying to William Shatner this in the middle?